So in creation, before the fall, everything was created by word, unseen. But yet, because word was spoken in creating it, there was structure. There was structure in eternity. That's the Word. In the beginning was the Word. And the Word, He created all these things. And the Word was God. The Word is God. And that's when the fall happened, the Word that created all that in eternity fell with it. And that Word of God that is God is the Holy Spirit. Here in this dark place. That's the beginning. When darkness showed up, everything began. Until then, it was all the same in God. Eternal. Just what was found in Him. That's how it was up to the time of darkness. But then when darkness was to be found, that was opposite of who God is, then that hole that showed up in eternity due to a lie was now the only thing that could recover this place was the very word of creation. That God created this place, not the one He put in charge of it. It's because of Him it existed. And that's the word, the Holy Spirit of truth, about the whole circumstance in the fall that exists here in darkness and revealing that truth is there. Why the fall was there, and how God is God. And at the same time, how something could be created and take the place of God for not seeing Him.
Yeah.
It reveals that too. So that we come to know God beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's all found in the beginning, in the fall, and everything else. And it's all revealed in logical sense. That if you're the only one there is, the only thing other than you would be the opposite of who you are, and there's where the darkness showed up, in the midst of God.
Right, the light's on the outside, and the dark on the inside.
And He had to put something in the opposite of who He is to reveal who He is inside of the opposite.
The light in the darkness. Light given into the world.
Yeah, but it was here even before anything else. Holy Spirit was moving through the depths of darkness. It was the light in the darkness without anything there yet to know it was light. It just knew itself to be light in the midst of darkness. And in this coming to know itself in darkness, it saw that it was light, life. It began to create because of what it is, not because it planned to. No, but because of what it is in truth. Creation began to develop, revealing more and more of what itself is, and in that, revealing God, because it came from God. It was the Word of Him here. Like started out like that little speck they think happened in the Big Bang Theory. No, that was the Holy Spirit dropped down here in sole definition against darkness. That this spot is dark. What is that? And in ask, what is that? It begins to reveal itself. What am I? Reveal itself. From both the darkness and from within the light is the revealing of who the Father is in eternity. Because everything that He created up there failed. All that was a part of the kingdom of Lucifer failed. We're all part of that. But the truth is being created caused the light to remain in the midst of the sun. But God is the creator. And we're going to see why through time. If we're going to come to know God eternally, that's the only way we can know Him. Is what makes Him up. Because we see what makes Him up, we're God. It's proclaimed what makes Him up. Once we see it all, we're like, that's God! No question! But it's acknowledgement of spirit. It's acknowledgement that love is something itself. The acknowledgement that peace is something in itself, acknowledgement that strength is something in itself, and they all make God up. And once we're able to see that, we're like, oh, that's God. There's no question. We weren't aware it made you up. We thought you were like trying to be a loving God or whatever. No, it's love makes up God. It's a facet of Him. Yeah, it's a facet of Him.
That shows how it can be all these things in good, like love's in good, life's in good, light is in good, truth in good.
It's like this facet of love of God. It's always been there. It's not like the facet of love that is God. It's always been there, and it was found in Him. And then when the darkness showed up, it was like a polishing cloth. It just shined and defined that facet. By revealing what it's not, it defined what it is, making it shine in glory so that we can see it. Coming to know God, coming to know love, that is God. Coming to know peace, that is also God. Coming to know joy, that is also God. These are facets of who He is. He is the diamond that was in the rough. And the reason why He was the diamond in the rough is because He was in the rough until we could all see Him through the polishing of who He is and watch the brilliance of Him shine. And that came out through His Son. That's where His brilliance of the Father shined, through His Son. It was polished. The Holy Spirit had been polished through time enough to shine with all the facets of His glory. That in each facet you could see the dividing of the light in the different colors that make it up. That defined to where there be no question and no argument as to what you see. God in that way is revealed to you just like a cup being placed on the table for everyone to look at and say, oh, that's a cup. That's how we'll see God. That's how we'll know Him. He'll be placed before us as though we can see with our physical eyes and clarify from every angle. That's God. That there's no argument. There cannot be when He reveals Himself fully to us. And it's through us that it is done. Those things that are not Him is revealed through us. Those things that are Him are revealed through us so that we can recognize them for what they are and acknowledge them for what they are and credit them for what they are. Guarding us in the knowledge of God from those things that aren't Him by seeing that they are something in themselves. And we no longer want them. Instead of turning our backs on God, we can now turn our backs on those things. We only turned our backs on God for not knowing Him. But now Him being defined, we can turn our backs on the things that aren't God. That's real.
That's true. And that happens as well.
If you know jealousy something in itself, you know greed something in itself, you can turn away from that. Otherwise, you're going to think it's just a part of who you are.
Right, and accept it.
That's not knowing God. That's why we were caught in that place. We were created in the image of God so that this could happen, so that one day all these things that are of spirit be revealed in us and be made clearly known what they are. So that they can be identified and put in their place. They exist in the place in which they are. In other words, jealousy belongs in a place. It's not in God that jealousy belongs. It belongs in a place of being revealed so that it one day burns in what it is against God.
And that's like fire and
Yeah, it's the eternal lake. That's where jealousy, greed, all evil comes to know itself, or it can't know anything else for the purpose in what it is. It must come to know itself. And in coming to know itself, in which it's done through time, we've been able to see it work in all people through time, revealing what jealousy is, revealing what greed is, revealing what all these spirits is that do not belong to man and are not defining God in such a way that where they're found in Him, but found outside of Him in defining Him. See? It's found outside of Him so that it's defined, like hate. We find hate. We know what hate feels like. So therefore, we really know what it is to be free of it when love comes out of us. When caring comes in. we know that we feel different. We're creating them as God to feel those things and to acknowledge that we're feeling them, not take them on ourselves and try to use them. That purpose has already been, that ship has sailed. That was before God sent His Son. That's where we were at and where we were to exist. But because we lived there so long, even though God sent His Son, we've been blinded because of that time. Hung up in it. Living for ourselves. Whenever God sent His Son to show that we are living for Him. That we live for His purpose. For His reason. So that He is known. Depart from me, you worker of iniquity, for I never knew you. That's, I never knew you. It's so that how can we know something that we can't see? Unless He's made a way for it, and it's found in us. We're gonna be closer to Him than we are our own selves. How could that be? Unless we see that what causes us to be is what we get a relationship with. Rather than us using what causes us to be and make us who I am, we can now embrace that which causes us to be, which is closer than embracing what you called yourself. Because you only embraced yourself for what that caused you to be. Now you're gonna embrace what causes you to be, bypassing everything you'd make of it. In the belief of choice back in the garden. Will and choice. The only thing that separates us from God. What? We will and choose to be separate from Him? Wow. Yep. That's exactly what we're believing, because that's what happened in the garden. Isn't that what happened? They got cast out of the garden when they accepted will and choice for themselves and sit there and believe that God's the one that gave us the gift of will and choice, and believe that we're supposed to use that to further ourselves in our relationship with God. Use something that the enemy convinced us of in a lie. Well, that's contradictory. That doesn't work. You can't live out in the spirit of truth if you're living in a lie. That you have a choice and a will. Oh, but I can will to choose God, so you can praise yourself in it or feel greater about yourself because you will or chose to do something God would have you to do when somebody else, from your view, may not have. Look at that. That just causes turmoil. That causes war, will and choice. I choose to live for this king. I will to will for that one. And these kings are one against another, and here we are at war. Mm-hmm. Will and choice in man brings about destruction. The will and choice of God, and which is not without, He is without choice because He just made the way He is. But that will found in God is life, not destruction. It's not His will to destroy. It's His will to be acknowledged and known. And if it takes destruction to do it here, which it has, because we're given the will of God, it took destruction here to cause us to realize what it is to be without destruction, what it would take. And we're the ones in the middle of this thing. On the destruction part, we always find, oh, it's something to do with man. Something to do with man causes crap. Their will, their choice. The only reason we have will is so that we can surrender it up. It's to know what will is. It's not to use it against God or for God. God doesn't need your help. Who do you think we are? We're that great that God needs our help? Wow, that's us creating the image of God. Well, we didn't even go there in our mind.
I like these discussions because it really does show who God is. I mean, instead of having an image of Him that we see in our mind.
Yes, that imaginary God. This is real. This is life. God is the spirit of life. We did not make ourselves. We did not cause ourselves to be. I do not remember being sperm nor egg at any time during all that time. Don't remember it. And yet here I am as conscious being and aware of my surroundings. I didn't make that happen. I'd rather credit what did than myself, to be honest. And I believe everybody else would feel the same way. That if I can accredit what caused me to be and get to know that, instead of being lost in what I think I am and not knowing anything and wondering where we come from, where we're going, what is all this for, I'd much be living in a place of knowing why we're here. And that comes through the acknowledgement of what created us, not what we become and what we make ourselves to be. That's where that truth is. Who wouldn't want to know their creator for real? Well, they all do. But everybody's got these views of creator. They're all wrong. Creator's found in us being in his image. That life itself is God. That the ability to say, this is who I am, that's God. Wow, to know that did you come to acknowledge that and you actually die to yourself? That God revealed himself through his Son, revealed the Spirit of who he is so that that Spirit can be about you, and in knowing that Spirit, you die to yourself because you see him and you see how you would take what he is and call it your own and make yourself out to be something this whole time, and now you realize that's what you've been doing. So now that you see who he is, you see yourself as nothing because I don't really have anything except for what you put here and I actually stole from you to call my own. I'm nothing in comparison to who you are, Father, for knowing you. The knowledge of knowing God will cause everyone to bow. You care how they feel now. It will cause everyone to bow. Because he is who he is. And because of what he is, when you see him, you'll see yourself as nothing. People want to be great on earth because the spirit of greatness that is God is about us. But because we don't know that, we take greatness and we're molded into what we feel as though it made us great. And call ourselves great when the spirit of greatness is God. That just confirms we're created in the image of God. There's no condemnation in this. This is what was done in God to reveal himself. All we got to do is admit that's happening and it can be released back to God and we can all be one in him again. Except different this time because when we were one in him before, we had no knowledge of him.
Right.
We were inside of him. Like being inside the brain of something. You don't know you're in the brain. Then we're taken out to acknowledge where we were.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way you can acknowledge what by being taken out and acknowledge where we were is if something from where we came from is here to remind us of it. And that's the Holy Spirit. That embodied itself in flesh, became Jesus to remind us of the Father, the place in which we all come. That it's all for his glory, for his recognition that we're even here.
Amen. That is why time will be in, why it's in,
A need. Yep. It takes time to know what happened in a split second in eternity. That fall is being revealed to us here through time. Why the fall happened. It takes time to reveal that. Had prophets and God showing up in people throughout time, revealing these little pieces of why it's going the way it is and where it's going to go. And to let us know he's really got it all in control. We're just an illusion, man. Started with the garden. An illusion of choice and will. It's an illusion. It's not real. You're not going to consciously weigh out something against God and say you have a choice between the two when you know him.
Mm-hmm.
Or that I will something other than God would will. Why would you? That'd be the only reason you could say why you would want to claim a will for yourself when you know there is but one will. Is if you could will something other than God. That's true.